You gave something once, and then you waited. Perhaps you waited for a thank you that did not come. Perhaps you found yourself mentioning the gift in conversation just once, just casually, and then noticed what you had done. Perhaps the giving felt hollow afterwards, not because the recipient was ungrateful, but because you realized, quietly and uncomfortably, that the gift had never truly been for them. This is one of the most honest and least discussed tensions in human life. We are told that generosity is a virtue. We believe it, and yet the moment we give, something in us reaches forward, hoping to be seen. The Stoics noticed this. They noticed it with the precision of people who had decided to look at human nature without flattery. The first teaching concerns the corruption of the gift by ego. The Stoics were deeply interested in the relationship between action and motive, and they were unsparing in their analysis of giving. Their position was straightforward. The act and the motive are inseparable. A gift given in order to be admired is not generosity. It is a transaction dressed in generous clothing. The ego has simply found a more socially acceptable way to acquire something it wants, which is the approval and esteem of others. The Stoics called this a confusion of values, a placing of external goods, reputation, praise, social standing, above the only thing that genuinely belongs to us, which is the quality of our own character. This is not a comfortable observation. It asks us to look honestly at why we give and to sit with what we find there. The second teaching concerns the Stoic distinction between preferred indifference and virtue. Stoic philosophy holds that most of what we pursue, wealth, comfort, recognition, health, falls into a category of things that are neither good nor bad in themselves. They are preferred indifferents. It is reasonable to seek them, and reasonable to use them well when they arrive. But they carry no moral weight. A wealthy person is not better than a poor one. A celebrated philanthropist is not more virtuous than an anonymous one. Virtue, by contrast, is the only genuine good. And virtue is entirely internal. It is the quality of your intention, the steadiness of your will, the alignment between what you believe and what you do. This means that the most generous act you will ever perform may be one that nobody records, nobody applauds, and nobody remembers. The Stoics did not find this discouraging. They found it liberating. If virtue is its own reward, then you are never dependent on the world's response to confirm that you have done something worthwhile. The third teaching concerns the discipline of anonymous action. There is a useful image here: the garden you tend when no one is watching. A garden does not care who planted it. The soil does not reward you with admiration. The work is the same whether an audience is present or absent, and the fruit is the same. What changes when no one is watching is you. You discover what you actually value. You discover whether your generosity is a practice or a performance. The Stoics were deeply interested in this kind of private discipline. They understood that the self is shaped by repeated action, and that the actions we take in private are the most revealing and the most formative. If you can give without any possibility of recognition, if you can act well in the dark, then your character has genuinely taken root. If you find that you cannot, that the giving loses its appeal when the audience disappears, then you have learned something important and uncomfortable about where your motivation actually lives. This is not a judgment. It is an invitation to look clearly. The fourth teaching concerns the freedom found in simplicity. Vanity is expensive, not merely in money, though it is often that too, but in attention, in energy, in the constant maintenance of an image. The person who gives in order to be seen must keep giving, must keep being seen, must manage the story of their own generosity with the same vigilance that a merchant manages stock. They are never free. They are always performing. The Stoic argument for simplicity runs deeper than mere frugality. It is not that comfort is wrong, but that dependence on comfort and dependence on the approval that wealth and generosity can purchase is a form of bondage. A person who has reduced their needs to what is genuinely necessary has also removed the machinery of vanity from their life. They do not need to be admired because they are not building an identity that requires admiration to survive. The simpler your needs, the fewer hostages you give to fortune. The less you need to be seen, the more freely you can act. This is the Stoic case for living lightly, not as an aesthetic choice, but as a path to genuine freedom. The fifth teaching concerns the cultivation of goodness as a daily practice. The Stoics were not interested in grand gestures. They were interested in the texture of ordinary days. Stoic thought returns again and again to the question of what one is doing right now, in this moment, with this person, in this circumstance. Not what legacy is being built, not what history will say. Now, this is the practical application of everything we have discussed. Generosity without vanity is not a single heroic act. It is a habit of attention, noticing where you can be useful, acting without announcement, and then releasing the act entirely. You do not carry it with you as a credit. You do not mention it. You return to the present moment and ask again, what is needed here? The garden metaphor holds precisely because a garden is never finished. You do not plant once and declare yourself a gardener. You return, day after day, in all weathers, whether anyone is watching or not. The quality of the garden over time is the measure of your commitment, not any single dramatic intervention, but the quiet, consistent, unglamorous work of showing up. This is what Stoic generosity looks like in practice. It is not spectacular. It does not trend. It does not require an audience. It requires only that you decide, each day, to act from virtue, rather than from the desire to be seen acting from virtue, and that you understand the difference between the two. The garden you tend in private is the truest account of your character. Tend it well. If this moved you, comment "The Citadel holds" below. It is our sign that you carry the philosophy with you. Subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.